Well, anyway, joining us on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline, as he usually does every Saturday morning. We always appreciate him joining the conversation. He is Kevin Minnick. Follow him on Twitter at KMinnickSports, covering South Jersey high school sports for NJ Advance Media for our South Jersey Sports Report segment here. Kevin, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Josh?
I'm doing well. So you were at one of the more interesting games last night. Woodrow Wilson, Willingboro. Woodrow Wilson, the team that seemingly felt like it came out of nowhere, just knocking off people, and then here comes Willingboro knocking them off. So you had a great game to watch last night.
Yeah, it started out really stunning, to be honest with you. Willingboro returns the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and then on the first possession for Woodrow Wilson, they complete a pass but fumble the ball. Next thing you know, Willingboro's got the ball again, and 3 plays later, another touchdown. So we hadn't even played. We played, I guess, maybe a little bit over 2 minutes or so, and Willingboro's up 2 touchdowns, and really has all kind of momentum. They get the onside. They do an onside kick. They get the ball back a third time. So it was really a stunning start. But Wilson had they settled down. They settled in, and they had plenty of opportunities in this game. And if not for some turnovers and not capitalizing in the red zone, they may have come out with a W. But I was very impressed with Willingboro. Willingboro, is a group. It's a Group 1 school, but they have players on their lines and weapons that all the big schools have. So not so surprised in the fact that Willingboro won the game, but come away, like I said, very impressed with what they have to offer.
Yeah, I got to ask you, Kevin, Willingboro, if I'm reading this right, they've won 4 straight now versus Woodrow Wilson. Has that been the key? Has the key been the fact that they have the type of athletes and players to really, go mano-a-mano with them?
Yeah, they can go man-to-man with just about everybody. And, they're the defending Central champions from last season and lost to Pennsgrove in that bowl game at MetLife Stadium. But in which they jumped out to a huge lead early in that one as well. So, Willingboro's got some talented players, and what their coach Steve Everett told me after the game was, they're a little bit different of a Group 1 school than most people would think. They're in a division where they're playing Group 3s and 4s, and they have to come prepared every week, and they have to be ready physically as well as mentally. And they've developed a line on offense. They've developed a line on defense. These guys pretty much are not going both ways. And, they've bought into everything. They have they're patient on offense. They don't seem to rush anything. And defensively, they get after you. So, for them to beat, Wilson has kind of come along in the last couple of years under Preston Brown. And, it slipped my mind that they had won the last, 3 games going into that matchup last night. So, people shouldn't be surprised in what they see out of Willingboro. A team now that's won 7 in a row after losing the opener to Cedar Creek, and they were competitive and pretty good in that game as well. So I think they're going to definitely be a team to watch out for in Group 1, and a team I think whatever side they land on, whether they're playing a South bracket or a Central bracket, I think they're going to be the favorite going in and a favorite to obviously to get to a regional championship game again.
Kevin, you're a straight shooter, so I'd be remiss if we didn't bring this up with you today. The story that came out yesterday about Highland with the 17 players being suspended, obviously Highland being shorthanded, it factored a lot into their game, their loss to Burlington Township last night. Can you give the audience a little bit more information about this story? Because I feel like people may have seen it, but they might not fully understand, what's going on with that.
Josh, to be completely honest with you, I don't fully understand what's happened yet. The only thing I know is that 17 players were suspended for that game, and it related to the release of some form of a video that involved a fight. And it's pure speculation, but I can only think that, obviously those kids were involved in that fight to some degree. I don't know whether they've been suspended for 1 game or 2. I don't know if some have been kicked off the team or not. When you try to gather information on something like this that comes up, it's very difficult because, obviously the school and the team the affected team is not going to want to say a whole lot about it, they may confirm that this happened or that happened, but to get details is probably going to be extremely difficult, on the record, so to speak. But, obviously, their top running back, Johnny Martin, did not play last night. I cannot confirm that, he was one of the 17, but I would, I have to assume that he probably was, or why else he wasn't on the field. But that obviously affected the outcome of the game last night. And then, they lose the game 14-7 at home. That could have some ramifications as far as the Group 4 playoffs are concerned, the ramifications in their division. So, we're going to try to get some more information at some point during the course of the day and see if we can get some, some confirmation from some things. But, it's just for the lack of a better term, it's just an ugly situation, and you would think that at this point in time, as much as people hammer home, different things about social media and different things about video and doing the right thing and not doing, making bad decisions and stuff, that something like this wouldn't happen. But it seems to pop up every year somewhere, somehow. And, this time it's Highland. So we'll see what happened. Maybe we can get some more information. But, right now I think it's just a bad situation that they're going to have to deal with.
You went directly where I wanted you to go, which is the social media aspect of this. The fact that, there's things now on social media that young people are putting on the YouTubes and the Facebooks and the Instagrams that they were not, these properties, these platforms were never there for this stuff to get out there 15, 20 years ago. And Kevin, how do you think schools are going to start handling this stuff moving forward? How can schools, encourage these kids to not just, not get involved in bad situations, but, for lack of a better term, as Herm Edwards said, don't press send?
It's tough. You're dealing with 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. And that's the thing is as much and as often as you want to drill into these kids, the ramifications of your actions now become magnified because everyone now sees it. And, I don't know, 9 times out of 10, maybe they get it. I don't know. But, there seems to be these, like, it's okay that kids think it's okay to do these things. And the bottom line is, and it's not just kids, it's everybody. The bottom line is nowadays, everybody's got a phone and everybody's got a camera. Mm-hmm. So, you're being taped, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, you're out there, and it's just the way the world is. And you really have to watch what you're doing. You just can't do certain things. To videotape a fight it's going to happen because it's just the way things are nowadays. Why the fight happened, apparently, I have no idea. But you've got to know that you're putting yourself out there. And especially if you are going to be, a scholarship type of athlete, if you're trying to, get yourself admitted into a school, and to be honest with you, you don't even have to be an athlete. If you're looking at your future, and all of a sudden, you're applying to schools, you have schools interested in you, and they see something like this, do they really want you? And that can come back to haunt some kids. And I've told kids that before. You've got to watch what you post. You've got to watch what you do. And kids will be kids, but this is a completely different era. 20 years ago, completely different than today. And kids just have to accept that and realize that, there's going to be some ramifications for your actions, good, bad, or ugly. And you're going to have to deal with it. Now, will this affect some people down the line? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. But, it very well could. You could have a scholarship offer today, and tomorrow somebody sees this and sees that you were suspended for a game, and, okay, well, we don't really need that. So, like I said, social media is a whole new animal. It's a whole different animal, and it's going to, I don't know if worse is the good word to use, but technology is going to keep going, and we're going to see more and more things. So the bottom line is you can't be stupid, and you just can't put things out there and put yourself on the line.
Kevin, the other aspect that reminds me of, and I know it's not an apples to apples comparison, but I remember several years ago, when the situation came down, when Rob Ennis, this superstar running back at Millville, he gets involved in an incident off the field. And here comes Raquel Armstead out of nowhere. And when the scouts are coming to see Ennis, they see Armstead instead, and he had an opportunity, and he took full advantage of with all those crazy big 200-plus yard rushing games, gets him a scholarship, goes to Temple, now he's in the NFL with the Jaguars. So, the other side of this is if a guy is no longer on a team, it's opportunity for someone else to step up and catch someone else's eye for them to maybe get that scholarship.
It's out there. There are those times where that's going to happen, and there's times when nothing could happen, and a scout could be out there looking for somebody, and someone else opens up their eyes. So it can go both ways. But yeah, I mean it's just not a good situation to be in, and obviously one that I'm sure there's a bunch of high school kids kind of regret that they got involved with.
Okay, Kevin, back onto the field. I want to ask you about a couple of games from last night. I know you were at the Willingboro Woodrow Wilson game, but a couple of games in our area. St. Augustine Prep wins 20-7 over Cherokee. Cherokee now falls to 3-4 in the year. Is Cherokee just in a transition year? What is going on with them? Because when I always feel like Cherokee is one of those schools that you just expect them to have a certain level of talent and ability, and for them to lose 20-7 to the Prep. Not saying the Prep's not a good team, but for Cherokee to go 3-4 and lose that way, kind of feels like they must be really in a year of transition. Well,
Prep is a really good team, and to be quite honest with you, they've been on quite a bit of a roll lately. They are a much better team now than they were in September. They've got everybody back, and the thing with Cherokee is I think a lot of people have been so used to seeing them, challenge for division titles, compete in sectional tournaments for so long that, they really never had a quote unquote down year. And, last year they finished, I believe it was 1-8. It was a difficult transition under first year coach Brian Glatz in the fact that, they went from a team that had been competitive to basically last year, not having played the type of football that they usually have. This year, a little bit better. A team that took its lumps a year ago and learned from it, and has put that experience to the test a little bit. But they're also playing a pretty challenging schedule against some teams that are state level caliber teams: St. Augustine, Williamstown. It's not as if Cherokee is not competing. I think that they are competing, and they're producing much better results than they did a year ago. They're just not winning the really big games against the top quality competition. But they're just not there yet. And maybe next season they take another step and get back into the picture a little bit more. But it's not as if Cherokee has fallen off the map completely. They've been competitive. They've won a couple of games, and they've taken, I think, the proper steps to kind of get back to where so many people are used to seeing them. So in that respect, I think wins and losses, you may not say it'd be a successful season, but maybe right now compared to where they were a year ago, things have kind of been a little bit more successful.
Another game I was keeping an eye on last night, Kevin, was the Hamilton Eastern game. Hamilton won 35-27. Now Hamilton is now 6-2, and talk about a school that their own former head coach Pete Lancetta is now over at St. Augustine Prep, and they're having a great year this year, and it really feels like this is a team that can make a lot of noise in the playoffs. Yeah,
they'll be in Group 4, and they're a team that's one of a handful of teams that really has turned the corner this year and really stepped on the pedal a little bit and is playing very well. And I think with that football team, what makes or breaks them is Jaden Abrams. And if Jaden Abrams is running the football with authority like he has most of the year, a W has ultimately been there. But he really is emerged as one of the top running backs in South Jersey. He's a 1,000-yard rusher already. I don't know what he did last night, but I'm sure he was heavily involved in that. And he's kind of what keeps that train rolling, and then they feed off of what he's able to do. And obviously it takes more than just him to win games, but when you have a guy that you can give the ball to 20, 25, 30 times a game, and he's churning out 5 and 6 yards and 7 yards a carry, that's producing tremendous results. And, that gets everybody else a little bit pumped up and psyched up. And it translates to solid play on both sides of the ball. So, yes, they're a team that I think if you can look at kind of maybe a teams that you would consider to be maybe bounce back teams this year, I think they're definitely one of them. And, Group 4 in, whatever side of it they fall into, South or Central when it comes tournament time, is kind of pretty wide open. I don't think there's a definitive team out there that you can point to and say, that is the team that's, you're going to have to go over to win. So I think that they put themselves in a great position now. And, when the playoffs roll around, that they should be ready to play.
Kevin Minnick joining us, the Boardwalk on the Hotline. Follow him on Twitter at KMinnickSports for all your South Jersey high school football coverage. Kevin, where will you be at today? I know there's some interesting games on the docket for today.
Yeah, there's a few out there, and I'm going to get a chance to go see Lenape actually this morning. I'll be leaving in just a couple of minutes, and Lenape is a team that is ranked in the top 20 in the state this week, and has been for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Their only loss coming to Williamstown in a really, really close football game. So, when it comes to Group 5, I think Lenape is a team that's going to be in the mix. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them play. I think Williamstown, again, at some point, whether it's a sectional final or a regional championship game, I think, Lenape has all the pieces to get it done. And not only are they scoring points offensively and creating opportunities for themselves on defense, but they're scoring a ton of points on special teams with kick returns and punt returns, and they're really getting the job done. So they're going to play an RV team today that's actually winless on the season. And, that's an RV program that has been to the sectional final twice, I believe, in the last couple of years. So a little bit of a down year for RV, but, we're going to check out Lenape and kind of see what makes them tick this morning. And, hopefully, we'll see some of the similar results.
Kevin, appreciate you always coming on like you do with all the great insights, and enjoy your Saturday. It's supposed to be a nice one out there.
Yeah, the shorts are coming out again, so we'll be in good shape.
Always appreciate it, Kevin. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Thanks again.